The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade.
Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade, where we get out of the box and dive into topics that are sidelined. I look forward to entertain, educate, and inspire. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us here Nishaea Richardson, and we're here to speak about a very important topic. It's budgeting, and it's something I struggle with. So we're here to hear from the experts about budgeting. So Nishaea, she's a financial coach for women, and she is a speaker. And we have a number of questions, or some conversations that I want to talk to her about to hear her take on it. So hi Nishaea.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. And I'm like really excited because I get to talk about money. So
I'm excited because I get to learn more about how to keep my money.
there you go. That works.
All right. So first, does budgeting really work?
Yes, absolutely it does. My business name is She's the Budget Guru, right? So I love budgeting because budgeting really helped me take back control of my money. It helped me become a homeowner, get myself out of a lot of credit card debt. For me, budgeting works, but I think that a lot of times people don't budget the best way for their personality and the way they like to spend money, which is why they usually can't stick to it because it doesn't actually fit them. It's like a cookie cutter budget that, they've taken off of a website or, someone has told them, but they're not actually really looking at whether or not that strategy or the way that that person taught them budgeting is good for them.
Nice. You said something I want to jump on. You said for their personality. How do I budget for my personality?
It really just depends. So some people are like natural savers. Like they're okay with being, just having just enough to cover their expenses and then putting the rest to savings or whatever their goals are, right? So some people just naturally are savers and are okay with following a plan. While other people like to spend money. So it's like for them to have a budget, they immediately feel restricted. And they're like, oh my goodness, I can't live my life the way I want to. Budgeting sucks because you have to take away everything fun and just pay bills. And that's not fun. And that's not really fun for anyone, to be honest with you. But so they get in that mentality. And before they even get started, they're already ready to fail because they feel like they're losing all of the stuff that brings them happiness and joy that they can spend their money on. So I think really understanding, like, first of all, what are your goals? Why do you want to budget? Because, it's one thing to budget because your income is, really low or you're on a fixed income and, you really can't afford to do anything more than, pay your bills and like, that's it. But if you're budgeting because you want to make a big purchase, so that means now you have to cut back on to maybe some like extracurricular things like going out to dinner or movies or your self-care. Yeah, I just think that people need to really think about why they are budgeting. and also take away that negative thought of budgeting has to be restrictive. I have to stop doing the things that I enjoy so that I can have a budget. I always say a budget is a plan of where you want your money to go every month. That's it.
Nice. What is the 50-30-20 budgeting rule?
So 50-30-20 rule is 50% of your money goes to your needs. So that's like your housing, your car, your insurance, your groceries, right? The things you need to pay for every month. Then 30 goes to your wants, which some people's wants are different than others, but
Oh, yes.
but having streaming services or cable is not a necessity, right? So that's a want. Going to the gym, going out to eat, going on vacation, those are all wants. So 30% of your money can go to wants, and then 20% goes to savings and investing.
Okay. Saving and investing. Okay. All right. And when our wants are done, we don't dip into our needs. Okay.
Correct. So yeah, so we have to take care of our necessities first. And sometimes that can be difficult for some people to understand, depending on, how they were raised when they were growing up, or just how people taught them how to manage money, or what was important to them, or what they think is important. So, we have to make sure our needs are covered. Like, you got to make sure you have a roof over your head, and you're paying to have transportation back and forth to work or wherever you need to go. You got to make sure you have food, right? But when I say you have to make sure you have food, that doesn't necessarily mean takeout. You just need groceries, because sometimes people are like, well, I need to eat, so that means I'm going to go out to dinner and pay $100 for one meal when I could have bought $100 worth of groceries to cover me for the week. And I also like to say that it doesn't really matter like how much income someone makes, because I also find that people connect budgeting to lower income when it really is not that. It's really just making sure you're not just spending frivolously, and then when the end of the month comes or the end of the year comes, you have no idea where your money went, and you don't have the savings that you wanted to have, you don't have the investments that you thought you wanted to have, you still have tons of debt, but yet you have all of these things, or maybe you did a lot of outings, but yet you didn't actually do anything that you really wanted to do with your money that's going to help you have a better financial foundation.
Sounds good. What are 3 factors that affect a budget?
I find that sometimes they are too restrictive. So, people are not realistic. So they think like, okay, I'm only going to spend $100 on groceries. They narrow it down to the T. They have their budget. Everything is covered, but they don't really give themselves any wiggle room. So they don't give themselves an entertainment fund, like to where they know they're going to go out and they may want to spend $50. That's okay. But they don't put that in there because in their mind, they're thinking, oh, I'm on a budget, I can't do anything fun. And then when that thing comes up, or someone invites them out, or they want to do something that, may not be part of the main budget, then it throws them off, because now that's money that they didn't actually apply towards having fun or doing something that they enjoy doing. The other thing I find is that people don't actually put expenses that are not necessarily due right now in their budget. They will put only the stuff that's happening in that month. And what I mean when I say that is we really want to take that roller coaster out of our money, to where those expenses that we only pay like once a year, so like our car registration, some people pay their car insurance once a year, or maybe their property taxes, homeowners insurance, things like that. If you only pay it once a year, those also should be included in your monthly budget, so that when they are due in a year from now, you're not scrambling trying to find the money, because you've already been allocating, let's say, $10 a month or $20 a month towards that expense that we know is going to come up. Or we know there's a birthday or a holiday that we love to celebrate, and we know that is coming every the same time of year every year,
Listen,
right?
every year.
And we could easily put money aside every month so that when it comes up, we're already prepared for it. And now we don't have to go outside of our budget to try to make it work and then throw our budget off. And then the last thing for me, I believe, is mindset. So someone really has to be in a space where they want to have a better relationship with money. They want to really understand and build a better foundation for their finances, maybe versus what they were taught previously or not taught, because a lot of people are not provided with, money management skills or tangible money strategies when they're growing up. So, a lot of make mistakes happen when we become adults, right? We max out
Mhm.
cards and we
Oh,
go in,
yes.
and then sometimes people never learn because they don't have anywhere to go, or they don't know what to search for if they're trying to fix those problems. So their mindset is still stuck in, I don't really know how to manage my money, so I'm going to do this budget thing. But yet I really don't know, like I'm not really full into it because I still want to live a certain lifestyle, and having a budget I may not be able to live that lifestyle the way I want to live it. So the mindset really has to be there to want the change, to be able to stick to it.
Speaking of the mindset, so while we're budgeting, should we have a goal in mind when budgeting, or should we just budget and save because we need to?
I think a goal is important. And I say that because it really helps a person like focus on why they're budgeting. Because like I mentioned before, some people, they're on a fixed income and maybe they're in a space to where they can't make more money. Where someone else may be in a position where, the budget is temporary. They just need to, maybe the 6 months they need to like work on a strict budget so that they can meet whatever goal they're working towards. Maybe they want to become a homeowner, or they really want to build up their investing account, and, that 6 months of them sticking to that budget can really help them with that. Or, whatever their goal is going to keep them motivated to stick to their budget. And if they don't have a goal, then after a while, it's not fun anymore. You start like getting really upset as to like, why am I doing this? Like, I just want to spend my money. I want to do what I want. I don't want to stick to this thing. This is stupid. Like, what am I doing this for?
Yep.
But the goal is so important because, it's one thing to say, okay, this is what my goal is. My goal is, let's just say, for example, is to save $1,000 by this date, right? And it gets exciting as you see the money building up in your savings account. But then after a while, that may wear off. Okay, yeah, that's cool. And now I'm up to $500. Yay. Some people, that's great. That motivation, that external motivation will keep them going. Where other people, they're going to lose it after a while because, they have to save that money every month versus doing something else with it. So there's another thing of checking in with that internal and thinking about what would my life be like once I have that $1,000 in my savings? How will I feel? Like, how much will my life be different? Will I be happier? Will I be more at peace? Will I have less stress? Like, will I be able to not work as much because now I have some savings to, as a nest egg, so I don't have to worry so much about money. And that's the other thing that people can hold on to, because once you start feeling that and envisioning like, wow, I really could have a more peaceful and stress less life if I had more money saved, or, whatever your goal is, hold on to that. So when you lose that external motivation of seeing your savings account grow, you can then tap into that internal and say, I can't wait until I can really experience this feeling of peace and stressless and, happiness and joy and, whatever, all the things that you want to feel when you reach that goal or when you get to that space.
Nice. And it's also, as I said, it's motivation. Once there's a goal, you're motivated to save more.
Yes.
And it's not, and can there be short-term goal and long-term goals in terms of, if it is, okay, I want to save it because I want to buy a stove. And after I finish buying the stove, I don't save anymore. And then I save up again when I need to buy something. Or is it better to do long term, in terms of just keep saving so that you'll always have the money to get what you need when you need it?
I say both.
Okay.
And what I work with my clients to do is create up savings buckets so that they're working towards their long term and short term goals. Because like you said, that short term goal could be the oven, or the refrigerator, or whatever it is, and okay, I'm not going to need a refrigerator or oven for another however many years.
Right.
Yeah, I really like to vacation, and I want to vacation, let's say 3 times a year. Well, you're going to need a nice chunk of money for that. So that could, maybe be your longer term goal or savings bucket, to where you're going to need a lot more money in there versus, something like a stove or a refrigerator. Or if you're saving for, those yearly expenses. So, that car registration, car insurance, those things, those are short-term goals. And, you're just going to kind of pretty much start all over again every year. You're just going to keep doing that same process because you're going to have those bills come in every year anyway. But I think it's good to have both because, first of all, we need to have an emergency fund separate away from different savings buckets because, if we lose our income, we need to be in a space where we can pay our bills until we find another source of income. But outside of that, there's, sometimes we want to do personal growth and development things too. We want to purchase a course or purchase a coaching package or work with a mentor that may require us to invest in that financially.
Right.
And that's a short term, or it could be a long term goal. Maybe you have a coach or a program that you are looking at that you really want to do, but it's going to take you maybe a year to save up the money versus maybe a couple of months. So it really depends on like what you're working towards or what things you want to accomplish with your money, but definitely have short-term and long-term goals at the same time if there's things that you want to focus on.
Okay. How do we spend less and enjoy life while budgeting?
I always say spend based on your financial values. So what things really bring joy to your life? Like, what are your values? So maybe, for example, I'll just put this example out there. Maybe you're someone that really likes to work with domestic violence women, and maybe you like working in the shelter, or you like providing charity contributions to organizations like that, or whatever it may be. That's how you want to spend your money. So it's like, okay, if I know that this is the thing that brings me joy, I'm going to really focus on spending my money on these things versus maybe something like, and I'm just throwing it out there, something like takeout, or getting my hair done when I really could do it myself and I really don't care about going to the hair salon. That's not important to me, but this is what's important to me. So I say really getting clear about what your financial values are and what brings you happiness when you spend money on it, what brings value and just a lot of good stuff back into your life versus just spending to spend because maybe you're trying to fill a void. Maybe you're lonely, or maybe you're unhappy, or maybe, you're not really happy where you are in life, or, maybe your house or your environment is not making you feel fulfilled. So you feel like, okay, I'm just going to spend money to make me feel better. But a lot of times that's temporary. And by the time you get the thing, you're like, I don't even want this. I don't even know why I bought it. And then you have this resentment or buyer's remorse because you're like, I just want to send it back. Like, I don't even know why I spent the money on it when I really didn't want it because I was trying to not feel unhappy, or I was trying to feel better because I had a bad day type thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I would say, find a hobby or something that's going to be able to fill that space when you find yourself spending a lot, walk away from it and go and do the thing that you enjoy doing. And a lot of times that will take your mind off of spending. So, if you're someone who likes doing art, or you like dancing, or whatever your thing is, when you feel like, oh, I'm getting to that space, I had a bad day and I know I just want to shop, when you really know, I really don't want to spend this money, but shopping kind of soothes that pain, that stress.
Oh, yeah.
And go to the thing that doesn't cost you any money and tap into that. Turn the music on, read a book, or go just dance in your room or whatever and release that energy. And then after a while, you just forget about hopping on the computer and going shopping or driving to the mall or wherever you go to go spend money, because now that feeling has passed and now you're doing something that you enjoy that you probably don't want to stop doing because you enjoy doing it so much. So spending money is off your mind.
Nice. Find better options instead of spending money.
Exactly.
Can our budgets change?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So your budget could change based on your goals. And it could also change based on your income. You know, some people, their income increases significantly, which then allows them to do, you know, maybe more things with their money than what they were able to do before. So maybe they really do like going to the spa every month, and that's something they really enjoy doing. Now they have the cash flow to cover it. Why not include it in your budget if you still can save and invest and cover all your needs the way that you want to? And then someone may lose some income and now they have to cut back on things. So which means now they have to make some adjustments to their budget and get rid of some of those wants that they don't necessarily, you know, need.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that they can now cover their expenses because they have less income.
And even if it is that sometimes you're making the same amount, sometimes you feel like, okay, probably I need to put 60 into my needs. And because things go up, prices change.
Mm-hmm.
So even as prices change, sometimes we may have to cut the 30 to probably 10 or probably 20, so that our needs can be taken care of because of it. So I won't necessarily say or think that we necessarily go towards our savings and say, well, price is going up, so instead of taking from my wants to my needs, I will put from my savings to my needs.
Right. We don't want to do that. We want to maintain the savings and the investing as much as possible without dipping into that. So definitely the wants are going to be the category that people tap into, you know, because of inflation, and, you know, really can't control the prices increase, and like it just happens. So if, you know, there's no extra income coming in, and, you know, the change in the prices is really affecting the budget, then definitely look at your wants and say like, okay, maybe what streaming service can I get rid of to accommodate for that extra $20 a month that now I'm paying in groceries or utilities? You know, so looking at that, it definitely helps. Also, I like to talk about like some of those things that we don't even think about, like our car insurance
Mm-hmm.
and our life insurance. Sometimes we've been with our providers for a very long time and we've never actually shopped around to see if we can get a lower rate. And
Right.
sometimes just taking that 15 minutes to a half an hour and doing some research to see if you can get the same coverage with another insurance provider could save you probably $50 or $30 a month, you know? So sometimes it may not require you to take away anything. It just may require you to go to another company to find a better rate for what
Yes.
you currently have.
Sounds good. Does budgeting help people to solve problems?
Yeah, absolutely. Budgeting is connected to so much stuff. Like it's all money stuff, but money really affects a lot of things that sometimes people don't even think about. So it's like, you know, a lot of people get divorces because of finances. And maybe if they had a budget or a great money management spending plan that both partners could follow, then that would have taken a lot of the stress away around finances. And then the other thing is with budgeting is like once you get control of your money and you're managing it well, then the person then shows up more powerfully and more empowered and more in control of themselves. So now they have better relationships, whether it's friendships, business partnerships, whatever it is, because they're much more happier. They're much more at peace. They're like really like proud of themselves that now they don't have that. It's almost like noise. I consider it as, because their money is all over the place, right? Now they can really like focus on being the best version of themselves because now they're not stressed out about money, or they're able to show up for their family or their friends because now they're not worrying about, oh my gosh, I have to work a lot of hours of overtime or I have to work a lot of hours in my business so that I can make more money. because I just don't know where it's going. And, I just have all this money stuff going on. So budgeting really helps with a lot, because once you get control of your money, it allows you to show up the best version of yourself as possible, and takes away that money stress away that a lot of people have.
Awesome. What is the biggest problem with budgeting?
Again, I think it's sometimes people find it restrictive, or there's this negative energy around budgeting. Like, it's funny because it's like mixed reviews. Like, some people are like, oh yeah, budget is like great. And then other people, as soon as you say the word budget, they're like, they turn their face up, they roll their eyes, and they're like, no, 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 I'm not budgeting. And it's like, it just, so sometimes you have to also change the language around it and just call it a spending plan, or your wealth plan, or your pathway to financial growth plan. Like, sometimes you got to just change the wording, and it makes people feel a little better about it. But I think that's truly what it is. It's just people just immediately think, like, if I go on a budget, that may mean that, my life is just going to be like,
I can't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just totally not it. It's the total opposite of that, depending on, your cash flow and how much money you have coming in versus your expenses, because sometimes it does require that. And if so, I say delayed gratification is the best. Like, if you have to really just take 6 months to a year to focus on getting a few credit cards paid off, or whatever it is that's you out, then do it. And then in a year from now, you'll be like, wow, like, I can't believe how much my life is different now, because I don't have that burden, of not having a savings or having all those credit cards or whatever the thing is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is the difference between a positive and a negative budget variance?
Positive and negative budget variance. So it's am I living? So do I have enough money to cover my expenses versus am I living beyond my means?
Right.
So basically, a lot of people live beyond their means, and that means that they have more bills than they have income every month.
Mm-hmm.
And what ends up happening is we use credit cards, right? Or we take out personal loans to make up for that income that we don't really have, but to cover the bills that we do have. So that's when you find that, okay, it's not necessarily you don't have enough money. It's just your bills are just way more than the money that you have coming in. So let's take a look at that. Where some people, they can't cut back anymore. They are down to, they can't do anything with their budget or their expenses because they have cut down every possible thing, and the money that they have is just what it is. So therefore, there's an issue because now they don't really have enough income to cover their expenses. So now it's like, okay, we got to figure out how to find you some more income, or what can you do to make some more money, because there's no wiggle room here in your expenses.
Right. And that's important, because when we are living above our means, we're constantly putting ourselves in debt.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
which makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. And, it's interesting because I think about like the older version of me before, the older version of me, I'll just say that. And I was in that space. I remember I got my largest promotion ever, and I was so excited. And I had credit cards. I was literally living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I went out and did was got Invisalign, which was $5,800.
Oh my God! Oh my goodness!
While I was barely making it from paycheck to paycheck and had tons of credit card debt. Now, the version of me now, I wouldn't even think of that. That would be the last thing on my mind to go and do when I got that large promotion, right? So I find that they call it lifestyle creep, or there's another Parkinson's law. And basically, when people's income increases, their expenses increase at the same time. So it's like, they'll see like, oh, wow, I got this huge promotion, or I'm making more money, but yet I'm still in the same financial situation. And that's because once more income came in, they're like, oh, now I can do this and I can do that and I can do this. Or maybe they went out and got a new car where now the car payment is $200 more than the old one. Or they moved to a nicer apartment and now they're paying maybe $300 or $400 more in rent, or they got a newer house and they're more mortgage because they have more income versus just staying in that lifestyle that they had, taking care of the debt or the savings or whatever it was that you weren't able to take care of when you had less income. And then once you get all of that situation, then considering, okay, is there any upgrades that I want to do? And then I can do it then. So that's usually what ends up happening, is, once the income comes in, the expenses change, and now we're in the same situation.
So we need to make better choices
Yes,
with our money.
absolutely.
And not because our income gets better means we need to change our lifestyle.
Right. And, and that's the other thing is, it's okay to have a nice lifestyle. No one says that if someone likes to buy designer clothes or they like a really nice car, or, whatever their thing is, no one's telling people to not do that. You may have some people that say, don't do it, focus, focus, focus. But, people really should be able to enjoy their money. We all work really hard. And, we shouldn't have to always be in this sacrificial space where we can never do anything that brings us, that makes us feel good. But, it's also important that we really look at how do I want my life to look 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and what things do I need to do differently so that I can be in that space?
Yeah.
5 to 10 years from now. Yeah.
I agree. What I normally say to persons around me is, yes, you made the money and you deserve something for yourself because you do. So what you can do also to help the situation is every month do one good thing for yourself.
Yes, I love that. Yes, absolutely. And
so you're not right. So you're not starving yourself of things that you love, but you're just limiting yourself and say, okay, instead of splurging because going to the mall is splurging sometimes. Let's just buy one thing or do one thing. So if I need to go out and eat something that costs $100, I'll do that once a month.
Exactly. And someone could easily put that in their budget so that money is allocated to that and they're not affecting anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes some people also put in their budget entertainment.
Yeah.
So that would be like probably once. So entertainment is in their budget. So separately, that every month I do this with this money here. I cannot spend over it.
Yep.
So yeah, you put limitations also on things because the truth is, if it is that we don't put limitations on ourselves and on things, we overspend. And then afterwards you said, as normal, we go back home and say, my God, I shouldn't have because after I ate that food, I'm still hungry.
Yeah. And you're mad because you're like, oh gosh, now I still got to cook something because
oh my goodness,
it's so true, so true.
So it is good that we learn how to budget because it also protects us. We may look at it as, oh my God, I can't spend more money, but the truth is, when we need it later on, we will have it because we have made that sacrifice initially to save it.
Exactly. Totally agree. And that's just it. And that's simply it. And, I love the analogy you use of, overindulging. And it's kind of like, you go to the buffet, we all know that.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, we eat one plate of food and we're good. We go to the buffet and we want everything. It's like, come on now. It's there, but that doesn't mean you need to eat all the food. So
and the truth is, we can't even eat everything.
Exactly. We're picking at things, and our eyes are bigger than our stomach, and then.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah. So we just have to learn how to do our budgeting based on our finances.
Yes.
And get it together. We need to get it together.
Exactly.
So, Nishaea, I want you to tell persons where is it that they can find you.
So I'm on most of the platforms. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook with my first and last name, NishaeaRichardson. I'm on Instagram by my business name. She's the Budget Guru. It's all one word. Oh, it's all together. or they can check me out on my website at she'sthebudgetguru.com.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much again for dropping your knowledge on us.
You're welcome. I appreciate the invite. This was fun. And again, I love talking about budgeting and money. So I always love these conversations.
Yes, I actually enjoy talking about money.
Thank you.
I'm learning how to save my money.
Listen, if you ever need more support, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to work with you because I just love it. I love seeing that transition that people have. And it's so refreshing to see how they really start feeling about themselves once they start reaching those goals that they set out for themselves. And it's something really empowering about watching that process, and then also watching the person go through that process and really seeing what works for them, what doesn't work for them, and, making those adjustments as it goes, and then, learning those skills so that, even if we aren't, me and the person aren't working together, they know how to really figure out what works for them and work through that process. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool.
The truth is also we love ourselves a little bit more.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
We won't be getting up every day to complain and we don't like this and we'll be a little bit more happier if we did more budgeting, to be honest.
I think so.
Oh my God. So thank you so much again. And I want to thank our listeners for listening to The Unfiltered by Jade. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.